Hi friends, strangers, internet. My name is EmilyHanhan. I love colorful makeup and colorful language. Now, I'm back today with a fun idea for a video, a little makeup playtime. And this video is kind of trying out makeup hacks suggested by a couple of my patrons. I got this idea from Heather Morehouse here on YouTube, and I've had it on my mind for a couple weeks now, but you know, the world has been on fire. Now a lot of us are here for some escape from what's going on in the world. This is the first time I've sat down to film an edited video since George Floyd was killed, since I think even Ahmaud Arbery maybe. It's been quite a while since I've sat down to film a video. And I can't just jump right into the makeup. So I just want to take just a few moments to say, Black Lives Matter. All lives cannot matter until Black Lives Matter. So if you happen to be watching my video and you still feel like the appropriate response to this is that all lives matter, please leave the internet. Actually, don't leave the internet. Go get yourself educated. You can't sit here and tell me that Black people have had equal treatment and justice, not even just in the last year, but just in the last 300 years. Just in case you are on the lookout, I will have some resources in the description box. On that note, let's get into makeup. So today I decided to combine this idea of trying out makeup hacks with something I created. So I actually built out a dupe palette for the Pat McGrath Divine Rose 2 palette. I will have a video putting this together. It's probably gonna go up after this video. This is my creation. I wanted to say that my creation is in no ways to demean or diminish the artistry of Pat McGrath, the artistry of that palette, the legacy of her work and of the brand. I just honestly reach for my singles more than my palette, so I wanted to play with the beautiful color story in a format that I felt like I would probably get more use out of. But again, absolutely no insult to Pat McGrath, to the beauty that is her palettes. They're not always for me, but I think there's always something there that garners the respect and the price point that they carry. So I'm gonna use my dupe palette, and we're gonna go into some different hacks that were recommended. As I mentioned, all of these came from my patrons. I do have a Patreon. It's linked in the description box. There's no pressure, but if you want to check out what I'm doing over there, feel free to go over and, you know, poke around. I meant to say this earlier than this far into the intro, but I have a fan going. I'm sure you can hear something in the background. That's the best option besides me melting, not filming, or having an air conditioner on, which would be even louder. So that's that. I think I'm gonna do something that I don't normally do, which I'm gonna work on my eyes first, and then we'll do the face. Some of the things, as per usual, Tyrion is running around like a little banshee, even though it's not midnight. I'm filming in a normal evening time, but he's just having one of those days. So a couple of techniques I'm going to be testing out. One is going to be using tape to define the outside edges of the eyes. We're going to be doing some kind of cut crease, and we are going to be playing with underpainting and some freckle action. So underpainting, if you've ever seen the Scott Barnes technique with makeup, he's done it. Other people do it as well, but that's the basic idea. Okay, so before doing the tape technique, I'm gonna do my brows because I think that will help me figure out where to put the tape. I know I just pointed them out, but we're gonna ignore my brows today. They're doing a thing. So, tape. Okay, I have Scotch tape, just the classic. So here's, I've only done this a couple of times because either I'm usually doing my eyes after my face, or I will just clean up with micellar water. I just stuck the tape down to my skin and lifted it up so it's not as sticky. So generally what people do, so how do I want to do this? Okay, we're gonna do corner of the eye to the end of the brow, but I'm not sure if that's actually the perfect shape for me. Actually, scratch that. I'm following my lower lash line and just putting the tape kind of following that. So I followed my lower lash line and put it out that way because I didn't like the extreme angle of doing it this way. Now, the difficult thing about tape, and the reason why it's not something I always recommend for people, is matching up the two sides. Now, no two eyes are going to be the exact same, no matter what. The makeup isn't going to be the exact same. The shape isn't the same. The brow shape isn't the same. It went a little low, so I'm lifting it up and faking it just a little bit. I don't like this one as much, but we just gotta go with it. So that's why I don't usually go with tape. You should also probably not be like me and not tape it all the way down on your under eye. By the way, I just used Cinema Secrets for the first time. I instantly understand the hype. So the thing that I kept seeing about the Pat palette was that this pink is like a satin and you could use it as a blend out. So I'm gonna try that, like as a crease color. And I'm not 100% sure what kind of cut crease I want to do when we get to that point, but I think by the time I get there, we'll figure it out. And so I'm making sure to drag this eyeshadow out to kind of where the tape is so that I can get that line. That's the whole point of the tape. I don't know if that makes sense. And obviously I'm not using the same color that's in the Pat palette, so this satin might not blend out the way hers does. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the coral color. I didn't feel like I did the best job picking that color. Like, I didn't think I had the best options within my collection, but just making do with what I have. And something I always like to do is make sure I'm looking at my eye with it totally rested to see if I can see all the color I want to see. The cool thing about those two together, especially using the same brush, is the pink kind of warmed up the coral to something that I'm a little bit more happy with. But I want to go back in with the pink, kind of really swirling my brush in, because I want the top edge to be a little bit more pinky pink, which is kind of extreme, I know, and very 80s, but I felt like it was a little lost. That's fun. Yeah, on that outer edge. Okay, I like that. Actually going back in with coral I want to intensify right along that edge and just kind of tap it into the pink. So you get more of like coral and then pink rather than them being quite as blended. So the other thing with doing this intense color right along that crease, it's gonna help you when you go in to cut the crease so that you have some color intensity there. But I definitely don't want any coral right in that inner corner. Now, for cut creases, there's so many different ways you could do it. So for somebody like me, if I really wanted to fake how big my lid is, I could really like cut the crease. So with my eyes totally relaxed, I could cut the crease like up to here, like cutting off a lot of that blend out, and it would make me look like I have really big lids. Or I could cut them just following my lid shape. I've never really done I don't feel like I've done the exaggerated lid. So maybe I'll try that today. Let's try it. I might hate it, but I don't know until I try. Now, in terms of multi-chrome, so that's what I want to use for the crease. I think what we're gonna do is, actually, what we're gonna do first, I'm gonna use the same kind of more dense brush and go into the burgundy. And then I want that on the outer corner of the lid and just dipping into this upper area a little bit. So for me, putting this matte down first before the shimmer, when I cut, so I'm kind of already starting that bigger lid thing. When I cut it, it'll just kind of fade. It's almost like a half cut crease. Even though this is an obvious different color from the pink, this kind of fades just a little bit more into the pink than it would if I had just done all multi-chrome. So we're gonna call this a half cut crease. Feel free to correct me in the comments if it's not a half cut crease. And this burgundy that I have could probably even be just a bit deeper, richer compared to what is in Pat's palette, but I couldn't find some like deeper. I think I have like a ColourPop or Coastal Scents burgundy that's a little deeper, but it's not quite as pigmented. So I decided to go with Lethal because they really pack on the pigment when you layer it up like this, and they also blend really beautifully, the Lethal mats. Okay. For me with cut creases, I just use my glitter glue. So here's the thing, when you apply it with kind of a brushing motion, it will kind of pick up the shadow that's underneath. A lot of times when I'm applying, I'll tap it on, but with a brush, because I don't want it to pick that up. But because we want a cut crease effect, you can kind of drag and be a little bit more obvious with it. Like a little, actually what I'm saying is a little firmer with it. And you'll start to see it kind of disrupts that shadow. And that's totally okay because you're going to be covering it up. I don't know if you can see that in my camera because I know the quality is not best. But especially right in here you can see. And then what I'm going to go back in and do is pick up a little bit more and tap that on the outer lid. So it's okay for the glitter glue to hang out for a little bit of time, like I was searching for a brush. My experience with multi-chromes is that they tend to crease on me. I'm trying out a different base, but I'm not going to use it in this video because I feel like I don't have enough knowledge on it for it to really be helpful, so I'm just gonna use it here and we'll see what happens. But my experience with both JD Glow and Cleona is that they tend to crease on me, even with glitter glue, in ways that other shadows don't. So it's a learning curve. This is starting to feel almost totally dry, which makes me know I need to get my ass in gear. Okay. So with a nice brush like this, you can just kind of use the edge of that brush, that nice rounded edge, to follow the cut that you've made. And I know that, you know, like, I know right now I've been using a lot of rougher brushes. They're still my standout favorite, but it's not always it's definitely not the cost of the brush that's gonna like be make or break. I think it's just about knowing which brush you need to grab. So for me, you know, I use an Menagerie Cosmetics brush for my glitter glue. That was, I think it was an BoxyCharm, so I'm sure it was pretty affordable. I've used Real Techniques brushes and ColourPop brushes for applying shadows. So it's more about knowing that you're using a brush that picks up the pigment, and then if it's not the perfect shape, you just have to be a little bit more careful as you place it. But with this, because I did such a rounded shape, that round just kind of follows. So this is, I guess, what you call a cut crease, like a half cut crease, because the burgundy kind of fades out into the pink and also fades into the multi-chrome. And I did bring the multi-chrome kind of all the way down to this outer corner. It's almost like a teardrop shape, so much higher up here and then dips down. A lot of times with cut creases, you see the colors being kind of the inverse of what I've done, where the blend out is a deeper shade and the crease color is a lighter shade, so it has a different effect. But this is technically a cut crease. So if I had gone in with a shimmery pink like this, or a gold like this here instead of that multi-chrome, you probably would think of it as it would probably read as a more traditional cut crease, but it is a cut crease. So I'm going to quickly do the other eye, and then I think we have to move on to face before we do the lower lash line. Don't freak out if your cut creases are not the exact same shape. Like we said with the tape, everyone's eyes are different. Your two eyes are not the same, so you just kind of have to know that it's not going to be exactly the same. And the only person that's ever going to notice that is yourself. And if perhaps you post a picture on Instagram and some asshole decides to notice it and say something, block them. And I also don't know if you noticed, same with the blending brush, when I was really worried about the shape up here, I was really holding my brush close for the most control. But as I went on to put glitter glue on my lid, I was able to loosen up and kind of lighten up, go further down the handle. So I'm going to show you, I'm doing two little corrections. Right up here, I just want a little more definition. And same right here. This is not a perfect science, but I'm just going back in with a little bit of glitter glue and just kind of putting a line down. And I focused the product on the edge of the brush, not on the face of the brush. Just kind of tapping it along. Yeah. So even though I said I originally didn't want that, putting that glitter glue down is helping kind of that cut crease feel more cut, and I like that. Having the stronger metallic on that edge, I don't know, it's kind of cool. It's not for everybody. So if you like the original way better, keep it that way. This might be considered to almost be turning into a full cut crease now, if I'm being honest. Just do whatever works for you. Do whatever makes you happiest with your eye shape. And I think if my burgundy was even deeper, I would be getting more of the half cut crease effect, but because the multi-chrome is pretty deep, it's more of a full cut crease. A tip that I know Millie Back to the Brow talks about with multi-curls is it's much better to put them across the whole curve, the whole lid, because then you have the whole eye curve to catch the shifts. Because if you just put them on one little section, there's not enough dimension there for most people's eyes to catch the shift. Now we're gonna do the fun thing of taking the tape off. Fun meaning slightly painful. So we get this nice sharp line. Okay, let's see how this side looks. Again, a sharp line. They don't match, but that's okay. The cool thing about letting the tape follow, it's kind of there. If you let the tape follow your lower lash line but drop it down just a teensy bit more, it'll give you a little bit more space to keep that crisp line and carry it into the lower lash line. Right now it's kind of just a very small amount of space, if any. The reason why I hate doing my eyes first is because I hate creating this nice sharp line and then having to do stuff around it, but we're gonna try. So here's the thing, underpainting. Underpainting is an artistic technique. It's a painting technique where you basically paint the canvas in maybe really intense colors or in a certain tonal value, and then you paint over it and the intensity shines through. Very, very much simplifying the concept, but that's what basically you're gonna do with your makeup. So I know Samantha Ravindell has talked about this technique. I think she's calling it the reverse foundation technique. I'm probably going to go in a little bit more intense to show you extremes. So I don't really have a cream bronzer, but I'm going to grab for this random matte ColourPop shadow that I have that's a warm brown, and we're going to try that out. And then I have a couple of cream blushes and kind of glowy things. What order do we want to do this? I'm most worried at how this is actually gonna sit on the skin and how much pressure or something I'm gonna need to use to apply it. So we're gonna start with this. This is the color Hanky Panky from ColourPop. And so it looks kind of pinkish brown on my finger, but if any color shows up on my face when I swatch it, it looks more warm. I'm just gonna see what happens. Okay, we're gonna try something that might not be a great idea. I'm gonna spray a little of a primer spray into this ColourPop thing. Let's see. So, yeah, this is definitely more pink brown than I thought, actually. I think if I was doing a more proper contour color or bronze color, I wouldn't be as skeptical right now, but I'm just gonna keep moving, we're just gonna keep going. This is probably gonna go in the trash after this because it's very dried out. So there's also the glow component, and I'm gonna add a small brush. I have this glowy base thing that I made. It's a very sheer base, but it has a lot of glow. I'm gonna lay that down here. So for this product, I would normally use just like a big foundation brush for it, but I very specifically picked up a brush that like I would probably use, or I have used before, for concealer. Now I actually want to use a lighter concealer. I don't know which order I should have done the glow and the concealer in, but I'm gonna do some concealer here and here. Actually want to do here and here. There. A little bit here, a little bit here. Let's start with that. Trying not to go too heavy-handed. I might be failing at that. The thing that's always interested me with underpainting is that I feel like you have to go heavy-handed for it to show up, but I also could be totally wrong. And this concealer is like a little bit too pink for me, so I'm curious to see if it's a good way to use this up. Just like use it for underpainting. Oh, I've chiseled. Definitely chiseled. Still kind of using the Robert Welsh placement for concealer. I'm just gonna drag it out a little bit more than what he does, which is fair. And this is also why I did not do my under eye makeup, because I would just have to basically go in and redo it. I don't have the skill to perfectly blend my concealer into powder makeup. I mean, we have some strong lines happening. Strong lines. So 2 more things that we're gonna be putting on. Maybe 3. We'll see. So I definitely want to do blush, and I think I'm gonna use this one. This is the Daria blush palette, blush and glow palette from Natasha Denona. I think I'm just gonna use this color. Let's try. I have 2 other. I'm actually not going to use that Daria blush. I have this Flower Beauty blush serum that I feel like everyone has raved about, and I bought it a couple years back and I didn't like it. I thought it was very like watery. Let's try. Let's see. And I probably shouldn't have used this brush actually. Okay. This is kind of I see the like ColourPop product kind of streaking into it. Okay. Let's try again with this flower blush, because I really like this peachy tone. And I actually want to put it on, do that, maybe a little bit more over here. I'm gonna use our fingers and just try to tap, tap, tap. See, we're learning together. I bet a sponge would probably be good for this, but I know I have fresh, clean sponges somewhere, but they're not damp right now, and I don't feel like it. Don't feel like it. So I definitely think that this side looks nicer in terms of the bronzer not mixing with the blush, even though the shape is a little bit more clown. Now, the only thing I feel like I'm missing, oh no, wait, there's two things. But the main thing I feel like I'm missing, I feel like I'm missing some of the more intense glow. Let's see. I want to see, again, I'm using my fingers because I feel the most comfortable. But I feel like if you have brushes or sponges that you're comfortable using your cream products with, use those. I just don't use a lot of cream products normally, so I'm a little unsure of what to use. So that definitely gave a, I was gonna say definitely, that gave a little bit more of an obvious glow. Something tells me that by the time I'm done, I'm probably gonna want more glow. The other thing that I wanted to do is, I've never done this before, I want to try out freckles as an underpainting technique. So this, the Milani Brow Pomade Pencil, is a very creamy pencil for the brows, and I really like the formula. And I think I want to try the slightly warmer tone. Let's see. Just needs a little sharpen. One moment. Un momento, por favor. Sharpen pencil. These are definitely bigger. Okay. Let's. These freckles are a little too big in my opinion. So you really want a pencil that's creamy and sharpened enough where you can just kind of tap. So I was putting it down and kind of twirling it a little bit, and that was giving me the really big freckles. They do kind of match my normal kind of beauty mark areas, but they're just a little bit big for, I think, for most people to feel like they feel not super fake. I don't really mind if it looks fake because I'm just in trial and error mode. I'm gonna stop there because I don't feel super comfortable with them, but this is what we're trying. We're trying it out. So, okay. Whew. We have all of this on. I have highlight and bronzer contour and blush and freckles and concealer. And now I have my NYX Born to Glow. Now, I'm gonna start this with the brush. I'm gonna start this with the Milani foundation brush, which I bought because of Audra at home, and I do quite like it, but I'm a little bit fearful of how all of this cream product is going to react. So I'm gonna try to like lightly stipple it on on just one side of the face, and if I feel like that's really a failing thing, then I will figure out a sponge situation. But I'm spreading it out on my hand so that I just pick up, I don't want to pick up a lot, I'm just picking up, I think, a little. The choice of my bronzer contour color was a bad one. And I still think that area in particular looks real bad. I'm also using a lot of foundation, but I think it's because a lot of it's getting rubbed into my hand. And I'm just like, I don't want to pick up a thick layer, so I just keep kind of spreading it out. I can kind of, oh, that's a lot of foundation. Just want to kind of, yeah, it's still bad. Still not great. Oh shit. See, this is why I don't like doing my eye makeup first, because I just willy-nilly pound. What am I doing? I just willy-nilly pounced my brush into my multi-chrome. And I think I'm officially putting on too much foundation. Yeah, I put on too much on my nose to try to I was doing so good, and then I stopped focusing. That's what happened. I just started applying makeup and I stopped focusing. Damn. I lost all the blush over here on this side. Yeah, I went in way too heavy-handed on my left-hand side. I don't know if it's the foundation or the brush, because I've never used these two together, but this stipple motion paired with this brush, this foundation has never looked worse, to be honest. Here's where we're at. I feel like I lost all the blush, especially on this side. I think I still have some definition. I definitely think I just put on too much foundation. I fucked that right up. I think the idea of underpainting works if you have products that you kind of know they all work together and you can kind of just play with them all together. Don't be like me, going in first try on multiple things and just hoping for the best. Speaking of hoping for the best, I have a little bit more blush on my fingers. And this is something that I've actually talked to Audra about. With cream products, sometimes I feel like it shows. Now, this is an extreme example because I went overboard, and so I'm dealing with that. But I feel like there are times when cream products actually show texture so much worse than powder products, especially when they're layered together. So it's just interesting trying this technique out and kind of feeling like that happened. And I'm gonna be honest, I blame some of this on that stupid bronzer I tried to attempt, and I blame some of it on the foundation. We gotta finish up the eyes, and then hopefully we'll be done. Okay. I'm going in with the coral on the lower lash line. And this is what I was saying about if you lower your tape a little bit more, rather than having kind of that shape, the sharp line of the tape will give you that space to just connect it. But now I'm gonna have to kind of connect it myself. Grabbing just a bit of the burgundy, and I'm kind of just trying to fudge that. Well, see, this is why I don't do tape. It's not... The problem is that I didn't leave that space. But my face is so damn creamy that I was able to just use like a clean brush and just kind of shift the shadow. And now I'm going back in with that brush and just kind of filling in the gap. So you can kind of see, I try to use the burgundy as a way to basically fill that gap. But because it's such a sharp line, like it's one of those things where you know, you feel like you don't want to waste all the work you did getting yourself that sharp line. So I just find tape to be a little too finicky for me. And I basically just remove the sharpness of the line by that burgundy that I put there, because I blended it up a little further, but it's all good. Now, I feel like I want to do some gold. So I was lucky enough, I'm gonna try to, I was about to put down this gold with no glitter glue or setting spray, but let me just spray it. I was lucky enough to get the actual gold, like, Lust color that was in her very first kit as a pressed shadow from my friend on the internet. And that was before I was even planning on doing this whole thing. And then I realized I had it, and I was like, well, I might as well. Going in with my bronzy shade. Okay. It's like liquid gold, if I'm honest. I wish I loved gold as much as Pat does, because she loves putting them in her palettes. Now, I'm gonna go with the more iridescent shade for the inner corner, but I really want to kind of shove it on. Oh wait, what am I doing? I'm not spraying this or anything. No. I love how like intense that is once you spray it. And I'm just carrying it up a little bit to kind of like almost accentuate the cut crease. Yeah, to like start that line. That's fun. So this is the finished eye, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye, and then we'll be back to talk lips. So the eyes are done, and I'm pretty happy with them. I have to say that I'm pretty freaking stoked. My skin is still very, very tacky, and that's not, I can't do that. So I'm gonna try to not use a loose powder and just go in with my Hourglass, at least to like set down some of it, because it all just feels extremely tacky. And here's the thing, with a powder like Hourglass, it's not really gonna do intense setting down. It's really only kind of helping. But I don't want to go in with a loose powder, because I feel like that like defeats the purpose of all the creams. But I haven't had to put this much powder on. No. Okay, so here's my thoughts. I could have picked the wrong foundation. Definitely picked the wrong like bronzer contour situation. Could have even picked the wrong cream blusher. But the way my skin feels, I mean, that helped, but it feels really thick on the skin. It looks really heavy in my opinion. So the underpainting idea I think it could work for some people. It's just not the one for me. Maybe if I regularly wore foundation, it might be the one for me, but I don't. Now, we've already been here a long time, but I thought I would do a quick lip swatch for y'all. I picked up 3 of the Propa Beauty lipsticks. I have Limitless, Believe It, and Victress. I'm probably gonna wear one of the 2 lighter shades, so let me start with the darkest one. I'll show you Believe It first, and then we'll do, no, I'll show you, wait, is this the right order? No. So the stickers on the bottom are not color accurate. I'm gonna show you Believe It first, then Limitless, and then Victress, and then I'll pick a color to wear. Propa is an amazing new indie brand. They are Black owned, and they've come out with a line of 12 lipsticks, and they're $12 each. And it's nudes for, it's basically nudes for all, but with a focus towards Black women and women of color. It's an indie brand owned by a Black woman. I think it's awesome. These lipsticks are like sheer to buildable, maybe not sheer. Like they're buildable, and they're definitely a glossier satin formula. So Believe It, I think, is the darkest of the 3 that I got. Definitely looks darkest in the tube. It's like a yellow tone brown, which I don't think I really have. It's not the right color for this look, but this is what it looks like, layered up a little bit. It's so comfortable on the lips. I still have issues with colors actually attaching to the inner part of my lips, but I think that's just an issue across the board because of the moisture in the lips. So yeah, so this is Believe It. They're doing a pre-order right now, by the way. That's one reason why I wanted to mention it. They're doing a pre-order. I really like the formula, and I feel like it's a brand I'm happy to support, and I would love to see more people support them as well. Next up, we're gonna do Limitless. This one might be my favorite of the 3 that I picked up. So that's like one layer, and it's orangey, but it still has a little sheerness to it. And Audra taught Britt Clark and me this tip. So the bullet is very curved out for women of color and people that have bigger lips. If you have issues, use the backside. And I find that I need to use the backside to get that inner rim, to get the color there, but then I can use it the other way for the rest of my mouth. So that is Limitless, layered up. I might go back to this one because I feel like it ties into the coral a little bit, brings out the warmth of the eyes and the cheeks. Just fucking comfortable. Last up is Victress. And I originally saw I saw these on Angelica Nyquist. She did a whole swatch video, and she had this one on, and it looked really sheer. And when I opened up the bullet, I was like, oh no, maybe I bought the wrong color. But if you go in with one layer like this, even a little lighter, it's a sheer nude. Again, it's a little bit more yellow toned. I wanted to dabble into those, but let's layer it up a little bit. So this is Victress. I think I'm just gonna throw a little bit of the orangey tone on top of this and see what happens. Packaging is nice, it's lightweight, it doesn't feel like super luxe, but it's cute, it's different too. Well, it's kind of like what Fenty did with the matchsticks, but for lipstick, it's pretty different. So that's fine. Just warmed it up a little bit. I think I'm gonna totally lean on these colors come like fall, but I want to play around with, I definitely want to like play with them more and see how the colors pair and layer and all that good stuff. But finally, we are done. So that is a full face of makeup hacks or makeup techniques I've never tried before or haven't tried much. I hope that was helpful or entertaining, or you just enjoyed watching me put makeup on my face. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to subscribe, I would love to have you join what Audra and I, we lovingly call our community Lakota Gang, because every live stream we do, which we do twice a week, Wednesdays with Kara C, Audra and I doing new makeup releases, rotating through our 3 channels week to week, and Thursdays is typically Audra and I, and the community there is amazing, and we often end up in the gutter in these live chats. So there we have y'all have named yourself Lakota Gang. If you want to join, if you want to find me on Instagram and Twitter, I'm at Nomnivorous. Check out my Patreon, link down below. Resources for Black Lives Matter, protesting petitions, all of that I will have linked down below as well in a pinned comment most likely. And whenever I do the video, whenever I do get the video of putting this palette together posted, I will also have that linked in the description box. Thank you for spending a bit of your day with me. I hope that you take care, stay safe, and hopefully I will see you all again real soon. Bye, friends.